What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about a fishing reel that a lot of fishermen really love, but also a lot of them really hate. So let's talk about this cheap reel. All right, guys, like you saw in the intro, we're talking about fishing reels. So for about the last year or so, I've really been testing out different reels, different reel brands, spinning, casting reels. And a lot of you know that for the last couple years, I've been partnered up with Duckett Fishing Rods, and they actually had a reel lineup for a little bit, the Paradigm Reel Series. It was a spectacular reel, really affordable, great quality made reel, but unfortunately they discontinued them not too long ago. They said that the reel market was just too competitive and they wanted to focus on building quality rods and designing new baits as they're, kind of getting their foot in the door in the bait industry. And I really like the direction that the company's headed in. I'm really proud to work with them. I wish they could have kept on making the Paradigm reel though, because it's honestly one of the best reels I've ever used. I still use a lot of them today. So as far as reels, that leaves me kind of like a free agent in the reel industry. So it leaves me a lot of freedom to be able to fish different brands and stuff. And with me saying that, doubling back to the rods, I am partnered with Duckett Rods, but I would never partner with a company that has a product that I do not believe in. So I don't want you to think that I'm forced to fish with Duckett Rods, because if they didn't make a great product, I wouldn't work with them. And keep in mind, I was a customer for about 8 to 10 years before I ever started working with the Duckett brand. So, I bought all my rods and I still had 80 to 90% of Duckett rods on the deck. So that's how much I truly believe in the product. So back to the reels. I messed around with some Shimano's, some Lew's here in the last year. And about 6 months ago, I stumbled on a brand that I hadn't really thought about much, and that's Kastking. So I've always heard negative things, back when Kastking was first getting started, and but these were on the lower end reels. So myself, when I'm looking for a rod and a reel, I'm a budget friendly angler. So I like to have a bunch of different rod and reel setups, because I don't want to have to be limited to like 5 or 6 rod and reels. If I want to throw something else other than I have tied on, I don't want to have to cut that bait off, take the time, tie something else on. I want to have several different rod and reels out on the deck, tied on with everything possible, especially if I'm in a tournament that's going to cut down on a lot of time spent tying and stuff. I can put most of my time into actually trying to catch the fish. So I'm looking for a affordable price point rod and reel that does not take a hit on the quality on the build. So I typically don't like to spend more than $150 on a reel. That's an expensive reel to me. And so initially I saw the Kastking Skeet Reese spinning reel. I was in the market for a spinning reel, needed a new one. I was like, hey, let's try this out. So I've had this one since about May or June. I really like it, guys. There's just so much hate in the fishing industry for Kastking, and I really don't understand it. If you go to the Kastking website and go to certain dealers like Amazon and stuff, almost all the ratings are 4.5 stars or better, almost a 5-star rating on their website. And I've just been really impressed with this reel setup, especially for how cheap it is. This is a $99 reel, both the spinning and the casting reel. So I will say the only downfall that I've seen with the reels is the options on the gear ratios. So the spinning reel has 1 gear ratio option. It's a 6:2 to 1 gear ratio. And the casting reel has 1 option. It's a 7:2 to 1 gear ratio. I mean, they're both great, all around purpose gear ratios. I feel like you can do really everything with a 7:2 to 1, except, like moving baits and stuff. But, throwing a jig like I got tied on, a Texas rig, glide bait, chatterbait, swim jig, whatever the case may be, fluke, you can do everything with that. 6:2 to 1 gear ratio, I feel like that's the perfect reel ratio for a spinning reel. Whether you want to, throw a jig head minnow like I've got tied on, a shaky head, a Ned rig, drop shot. I've used this reel for everything, just changing my different rod sizes, of course, with the different techniques, but super smooth drag. I really love the drag on this thing. And for a spinning reel, this has one of the highest drag weights that I've seen. It comes in at 17 pounds worth of drag. This is the 2000 series, and I've talked about it before. I like a smaller spinning reel. I just feel like it makes the rod setup more balanced, especially with these lighter presentations like Ned rigs and jig head minnows. But You know, these are aluminum frames, so makes it real lightweight. I think it's like 7 or 8 ounces. Super light, you know, feels really good, smooth casting, smooth drag on fighting the fish. It's got 10+1 stainless steel bearings, so that's going to prevent any rusting, of course. And as far as the casting reel, it's also got the aluminum frame, so it's a lightweight build. This one is 7 ounces, really light. It just feels really good in my hand. You know, this is a really balanced rod as well, the Jacob Wheeler Series 2.0. So having a lightweight rod and a lightweight reel just really, I mean, I don't know if I've ever felt a rod and reel setup as lightweight and balanced as this one right here. And, you know, not a sales pitch at all, being 100% genuine and honest with you guys. So the casting reel also has 17 pounds worth of drag. You know, that's plenty to do anything. You can punch grass with this. I haven't yet. I've got 20-pound fluorocarbon on it. I've been throwing a jig, through a Texas rig a little bit, through a glide bait, and if anything can hold up to, you know, 7 to 8 inch heavier glide bait, you know, that's a win in my book. But I would definitely trust this reel to do some heavy grass, heavy cover punching on Lake Guntersville, like you guys know I love to do. And if any of you guys have experience punching grass, you know that you need a high quality reel for doing that stuff. You know, I've ruined a ton of reels in the past when I had no idea what I was doing, you know, just using lighter drag weight reels, ripping the bearings out and all kinds of stuff. So you definitely need a heavy duty drag system, and you know, I'd put this one up against anything, being that 17-pound drag. But this one's got one extra stainless steel bearing as opposed to the spinning reel. This is 11+1, so super smooth casting, super smooth drag as I'm fighting the fish. I've just been really all around impressed. So I'm here to say, if you're looking for an affordable reel, I genuinely would recommend this to you. $99. You know, if you don't like it, then you're probably a little bit more bougie than me. I don't even know if I use that word right, but yeah, after testing some of those like more affordable price point Shimano and Lew's, I would put the Kastking up against them all day long. I just really don't think you can find a better reel for the $99 price point than you can with this Kastking Skeet Reese reel. And like I said at the beginning of the video, you know, these Kastking reels, they get a lot of hate, and I don't understand it. I haven't had any issues with them. You know, if you've got any personal experience with these reels, by all means, let me know down in the comments. I haven't had any issues with them yet, and I would really recommend them to anybody that asks me for an affordable reel, you know, casting or spinning. I like both of them. But like I said, the only thing that I wish they would do is give you more options as far as the gear ratios. You know, I just think Kastking hurt themselves by doing that, because, you know, if I want to throw a crankbait, I'm not going to use this reel because it's too fast, especially as we're approaching the winter time, getting those cool water temps. I'm going to want a slow gear ratio. But guys, let me know what you think. If you've had any good or bad experience with the Kastking reels, you know, I appreciate and value you guys' input, and I appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.